Good morning, everyone. We have a few more participants signing in, so let's give them a minute or two to get settled and then we'll get started. Okay, I think we are ready now. So thank you for joining us for today's information event on this year's Destination Brand 22 study. My name is Ellen Böhling from Inspector. I'm managing partner and your contact person for Destination Brand and all questions related to this study series. My dear colleague Dörte Waldmann is giving me a company during today's information event and will keep an eye on the chat. Speaking about the chat, before we start with the presentation, I'd like to let you know that we are going to record today's information event. So afterwards, we will send you the link, including also a handout. And we invite you, of course, to watch it again or share it with your colleagues. And we also invite you to ask your questions. So please look at the chat box on your screen. If at any time you think of a question, just type it in there and Dörte will take it to the Q&A session at the end of the event. And of course, we will then go through as many questions as time allows. Okay, so let's get started. What can you expect from today's information event? I will just give you a brief introduction to our study series Destination Brand in general, and then we will, of course, have a closer look at Destination Brand 22 about the contents, the modules, and the participation options for you. And as mentioned already, at the end, we have the Q&A session. Okay, so let's start with the study series Destination Brand. For those of you who don't know the Destination Brand is a study series in a 5-year circle and has its origin in Germany in the year 2009 and was developed by the German Institute for Tourism Research. What is the aim of the study series? The study series focuses on the measurement of the brand image with different levels and helps to find out how destinations are positioned in consumers' minds for the holiday context in a given source market and, of course, for selected target groups. So in the first study year in 2009, we started with the evaluation of the brand value of German tourist destinations in the German source market. And then we had annually change in research focus, digging deeper into the perception of destinations. So after the first year of the study, the focus of the second year was on the theme competence to evaluate what consumers think they can do in the destination and for what the destination stands for. In the third year of the study series, which is the focus of this year's study as well, is that we evaluate the symbolic emotional attributes of a destination, the image, the profile of a destination, by asking if a destination, for example, is trendy, authentic, sustainable, family friendly, among others. So the results of the three single studies, when considered together, reflect the holistic brand image of the destination. We additionally have pilot studies running on the self-image of destination, but also regarding business destination. We have also a digital module in mind. So there are different studies underway to integrate further relevant contents in Destination Brand 23 and 24 in the study series. But back then, since 2009, more than 500 tourism destinations have been considered and evaluated in the frame of Destination Brand. And then in 2018, we took the next step and conducted Destination Brand for the first time in Austria, Switzerland, and Netherlands. And we have included China as the next source market in the survey in 2019. And since 2020, when we started again with a new circle of destination brand, evaluating the brand value of destination, the survey also takes place in France, Spain, Italy, UK, and the USA. So since 2020, we have a fixed pool of 10 source markets where the survey on destination brand takes place every year. And what is special about the study, being a series with repetition of each study after 5 years, destination managers can monitor, of course, the development over time in parallel in up to 10 source markets. And besides, we include as many destinations as possible in the study in order to offer an interesting comparison with other tourist destinations. That was just a brief introduction to Destination Brand. Let's move on now to Destination Brand 22. And before I go into the content, I briefly give you an introduction to the survey design. So this year we have 2 modules with different focus and observation to observe and to evaluate the perception of tourist destination. Module 1 is focused on the consumer-oriented measurement of profile characteristics of tourist destination, of those emotional symbolic attributes which I have mentioned before. So it's about the general relevance of characteristic attributes in the destination decision in general, first of all, in each source market, and then focused on each participating destination. We evaluate if different characteristics are attributed with the destination. And of course, this close up or sums up with a competitive analysis. But I will go into the context and the contents in more detail just in a bit. The second module is about the spontaneous associations, by asking what springs to mind spontaneously by thinking of the destination, for example, Bavaria. We cluster and segment all these responses by different target groups, by different subgroups, and how we do that, I'm going to explain you afterwards as well. We will conduct the survey, as mentioned, in the 10 source market and these 8 European countries, as well in US and China, which I have already mentioned. It is an online survey, as always. The fieldwork, so to say, the collection of the data on the 10 source markets will take place from October to December 2022. That's the same frame or time frame as usual each year. Our study is representative of the local population aged 14 to 74, with the exception of China, where an online panel can only reach the urban population aged 14 to 59. We work with representative subsamples for the destination specific questions, so that we have 1,000 respondents or persons we are interviewing for each destination per source market. And this year, as I have mentioned, we will measure the profile characteristics in all these source markets for more than 150 destinations. And we carry out, in addition to the univariate evaluation, standard target group analysis, and we also prepare socio-demographic differentiation. And additionally, for the German source market, it's possible to conduct an analysis for the so-called Sinus milieus, and the BEST, which is a new segmentation group, target group, benefit-orientated. Abbreviation is BEST type of holiday makers. That is just an overview of the survey design. I now like to focus with you on module 1. And I will explain you the contents and the methodology in the next slides. So the basis is a 3-dimensional competitor analysis, which I would like to present to you briefly. And if you have participated in Destination Brand 21 last year, the methodology is not new to you. This was also the basis for the survey of the theme competence last year. So As the name says, it's a three-dimensional competitor analysis. In the first dimension, we survey the general relevance of more than 40 characteristics or attributes for the destination decision. Then secondly, and destination specific, we evaluate for each participating destination, and with a total of 10 characteristics or attributes, if this characteristics are attributed to the corresponding destination or not. So you will get answers to the following questions: for which characteristics your destination is considered suitable from your targets groups, and which characteristics or attributes match with different target groups. Then we end up in the third dimension, oriented to the competition, the competitor analysis. In this part, we compare the suitability of each destination per characteristic, per attribute, in relation to all other participants in the respective source market. So you get to know how do you compete with other destinations. And all three dimensions together reflect then the current competitive situation of your destination. So to sum up, what are the insights, the results, which you can get here? Well, for what questions you can get the answer with our data. In general, what characteristics, association or attributes, but also values are associated with your destination. If they are trendy, hospitable, inspiring, eventful, which character traits your target group connects with your destination. How do you compete with other tourist destinations based on the same characteristics or attributes? And how high is the relevance of these different characteristics and values in general and independent of a destination for the choice of a travel destination for a future holiday destination? Yeah, and after this introduction, I'd like to show you now some data preparation that I like to deep into the survey a little bit more. So to do this, I will go through the three-dimensional competitor analysis with you step by step. And we start with the first dimension, with the demand side evaluation, which I've already mentioned. The focus here is on the measurement of the general relevance of the different characteristics for the destination selection in all 10 source markets. And in the course of Destination Brand 22, the general relevance is surveyed uniformly across all source markets based on this 40 attributes and based on the question, which you can see here on the slides. Yeah. So how relevant? The question is, how relevant are the following characteristics when you choose a tourist destination for a holiday trip with at least one overnight stay in general? And how do we prepare the data for you in the report, which you get when you participate? You get a report, individual report with the results for your destination, also for module 1 as well as for module 2. And initially for this dimension and the results from this dimension, the data is presented in the report as shown here. You get an overview ranking to be able to determine which attributes are generally of great importance for destination selection and which tend to be neglected as well. You get destination independent insight into the relevance of the characteristics for the destination decision of potential guests in the corresponding source market. So here on the slide, you can see an example of the overall ranking from Destination Brand 17 from the source market Germany, and you can see or one can therefore deduce that the attributes or characteristic friendly, restaurant, and hospitable are of high importance for the decision for in the time or in the moment of making a decision for a future holiday destination. Additionally, to this overall ranking, we prepare an overview of the 10 characteristics which the corresponding destination has or had selected for their own evaluation in the second part, in the red part, which I'm going to explain you just in a bit. So on the slide, you can see an example of data preparation for this part. on the left from top to bottom, you can see the 5 general characteristics that are considered for assessing the supported evaluation of characteristics. And then for the special characteristic, 5 special characteristic which you can choose from a pool. I'm going to show you this in a bit. There's, of course, a supplementary analog data preparation as well. Furthermore, and beside this, a time comparison to previous studies is also possible. So you can see the development of the importance or relevance of this characteristic for the decision-making process for a future holiday destination. Up to this point, you have obtained destination-independent result and gained an overview of which character traits make a destination attractive and have a positive influence on the destination decision. Let's move on now to the second dimension. And here we get into the collection of the destination-specific data for your individual personal destination by measuring the supported evaluation. As to whether selected characteristics or properties are attributed to your destination or not in the chosen source market. So here, in the course, in the second central focus of the investigation, Destination 122 ascertains the extent to which the represented population assesses the respective examined characteristic as applicable to the destination considered. So each destination is assessed for its suitability for a total of 10 characteristics, which consist in the 5 general characteristics, which are offering a lot of variety, attractive, authentic, hospitable, and sustainable. They are asked uniformly for all destination, all participating destinations, as well as 5 additional special characteristics, which can be selected from a given pool of characteristics. So based on this question, which you can see here on the slide, we conduct this destination-specific evaluation. And just to give you an overview, you can see here the already mentioned 5 general characteristics, which we consider for all participating destination. And then, just have a look at our pool. There's a pool of the specific characteristics where you can choose from your 5 individual characteristics to have a total amount of 10 characteristics for your personal destination specific evaluation. Yeah. And how do we prepare the data in this part? First of all, the destination-specific results are prepared in the report as shown here. You can then see from the processing which attributes are most associated with your destination or which characteristics are ensured on the minds of the respondents. So these results are prepared based on all respondents, but also for subgroups, those which are affine to the characteristic, for example, hospitable. And the second subgroup are the visitors in the past. And of course, if you have participated in previous studies of destination, a time comparison and the development of the suitability and the results is possible too. And we include a time frame which shows the development of the destination characteristics. For all considered destinations, the number of cases in relation to the supported evaluation is at least 1,000 respondents, which I have already mentioned. So this generally allows us to do further statistically reliable detailed analysis. One of them is the standard target group analysis, where we divide or segment the results of the evaluation of the characteristics for your destination according to up to 6 individually selected target groups. So the basis for the definition of this target groups can be a socio-demographic criteria or the general interest in a different holiday activity like hiking or riding a horse or being in the nature, for example, as well as a combination of both aspects. And the standard target group analysis is carried out for all 10 characteristics or attributes. So I show you an example here on the slides for the attribute or the characteristic offering a lot of variety. On the left, you can see the value for this attribute on basis of all respondents, and then from left to right, you see the results of the evaluation of this for the sample destination for the here selected 6 target groups. So you can see that the highest value is found in the group interested in city trip, and the lowest suitability or connection can be found in the group young singles and couples with higher education. In addition to this, of course, we divide the information as well in socio-demographic differentiation. We can also conduct the target group to the Sinus milieus and best types of holiday makers. And of course, this preparation, data preparation, is included for all 10 selected characteristics for your destination. Within the third dimension, it is about the perception of the property assessment with other destinations. So it's the comparison with other participating destinations. So therefore, and maybe you know this as well from previous studies, the three-dimensional competitor analysis is clearly summarized by means in the so-called analysis quadrant, which you can see here on the slide. Here, the results for all 10 characteristics are visualized. You find one circle for each characteristic here on the quadrant. You can then see from the processing which attributes are most associated with your destination or which characteristics are unshored in the minds of the respondents. So where can you find, or how can you connect the 3 dimensions here in the quadrant? First dimension, the results from the first dimension, from the demand side evaluation of the relevance, is on the x-axis, from left to right. So the greater the general relevance of the respective property or characteristic for the destination decision is, the further to the right the characteristic is ranked in the quadrant. The competition, the blue dimension, is on the y-axis. The better the destination or sample destination performs in the competition comparison per characteristic, the higher the respective characteristic is placed in the quadrant. And the second dimension, the red dimension, is connected with the size of the characteristic circle. So the bigger the circle is, the higher the association or the connection with this with the characteristic with the destination is evaluated. So let's give me an example for the attribute. For example, hospitable. The circle is on the upper right corner. What does the position of the circle tell us? On the x-axis, the circle is placed far to the right, which means that in general and independent of a destination, the relevance for a destination selection of this characteristic is high. In addition, and with reference to the y-axis, we can see a ranking high up, which means that the example destination is placed high up among the destinations considered, which are also evaluated according to this characteristic. And the size of the circle as a third dimension proves that there is a high supported characteristic assessment for hospitable for the example destination. So thus, you can read here at a glance, and for all 10 characteristics, the status quo of your destination among all surveyed. We have an additionally preparation, which I'd like to show you briefing per characteristic. You get a ranking of all destinations who were considered and surveyed for the same characteristics. So in each individual report, you see this ranking for all your 10 attributes based on all respondents, but also with those who are affine of the characteristic. And of course, there are different segmentations by category. For example, coastal destinations, small, medium size, or larger destinations, larger cities, for example. And you can see in the rankings that the rankings contain the destination names and as well the rankings of all destinations surveyed. The underlying percentage values are shown exclusively for the commissioning destination, for your destination, in the respective individual report. Okay. This ends the presentation for Module 1. Now we have a closer look into our Module 2 with focus on the measuring of the spontaneous associations to your destination. The background, the survey design is the same as to Module 1. And this evaluation, and in order to determine the image profile, the respondents are asked the question, what springs spontaneously to your mind when thinking of the destination Bavaria, for example? Yeah. And then we check the variety of different individual answers for the respective travel destination, for Bavaria, for example. And we then do a second step with the classification of the individual responses, segmenting or clustering then into association subcategories, each of which comprises at least 5 individual responses. And this third step includes a comprehensive examination of the content of the individual responses as well. Then, in order to clarify the overall structure of the content of the association's profile of the travel destination, the subcategories belonging together in each case are additionally grouped into different superior categories in terms of content, each containing at least 20 individual responses. What does that mean, and how do we prepare this data in the report? This is shown here on this slide to show you the first example how we cluster the associations into superior categories. Please keep in mind multiple answers are possible. So for each association superior category, both the percentage based on the total number of respondents, which is here 1005, the percentage based on the sum of the individual mentions, which is in total 2,847, and the respective number of individual mentions are shown. Yeah, so in this case, and this is that is an example from 2019 for the travel destination of France, which we evaluated in the source market of China. Each respondent from China gave 2.8 mentions in total. Yeah, here you can see the results for the destination accordingly, and in the example, the available mentions are clustered and subdivided into 10 superior categories with different contents as well as supplementary groups of other mentions without category allocation. That differs from destination to destination and to the amount of responses, but also the content of the associations. An additional data preparation is shown here on the slide by taking a detailed look to the subcategories formed. We can see here in the example, as I mentioned, additional data preparation where the top 3 subcategories are shown for each of the largest 4 superior categories. So here you can see the top answers, the top association, which in this case, the Chinese respondents made for the travel destination of France. Further data preparations now oriented to the subcategories is this overall top 20 association ranking. You can see now, or you get now, further detailed information what responses concretely were given. And in addition, the report contains in-depth analysis for the top 20 association subcategories according to subgroup visitors in the past. And of course, we conduct a standard target group analysis, which I have explained in module 1 for you. And furthermore, the target group analysis based on the Venus milieus and best types of holidaymakers can be booked additionally here as well. Another example for data preparation in your report is this word cloud, where you more visually and more concrete and not based on a table, you have the most or the highest, the top mentions, top categories summarized in this word cloud. Which you of course can use for your internal communication or outside communication. And then the reports also includes an overview of the individual nominations for each subcategory. So in this case, for all or for each of the 10 superior categories, we develop and visualize in your report this ranking, and then you get to know what were the concrete answers per category. Yeah. So here our presentations of the contents ends. Finally, I will give you an overview of this year's opportunities for participation. First of all, our participation conditions, which you may have already seen in our documents. The price for participating in module 1 to evaluate the profile characteristics of your destination is 3,900 euros per destination per source market. For module 2, the price is 3,500 euros per destination per source market. And it's up to you. You can book one of the two modules in a source market or both. And if you are interested in participating in more than one source market or conduct one module in different source market, we will be happy, of course, to offer you a price reduction, which is here listed on the slide as well. You can register for participating by sending us our order form by 13th of September. And of course, we will be happy to help to fill out this order form. As I mentioned, the field work takes place from October to December directly, and then we deliver the data in an individual report per module, per destination, and per source market as a PDF via email. We have sample reports on our website, but I will also send you sample reports for each module with the follow-up email of this information, the event. So the data delivery for module 1 includes an advanced extract, which we're going to send you in the beginning of March 2023, and then the complete report by the end of April 23. For module 1, we directly send you the complete report by end of March 2023. Yeah, so the presentation ends here, and we now have time for your questions. So, Dörte, I'd like to ask you if there are any questions arise in the chat, which I can now answer.
No, up to now, there are no questions in the chat.
Okay, thank you. So, if any questions arise afterwards, feel free to contact us at any time by email or by phone. We can also set up a call via Teams or Zoom to provide you with further information and, of course, to answer your personal questions. As I have mentioned, after the event, I'm going to send you a follow-up email with the handout with the link to the recording. And of course, I will provide you with further information of sample reports so you can have an overall look on how we prepare the data for you based on module 1 and module 2. But then for today, I'd like to say thank you for participating in our information event. And thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure for us to present Destination Brand 22 to you. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay safe and stay healthy, of course. And yeah, goodbye to everyone.